yeah, this is a new beginning
Yes,
with
definitely a
CRYPTA.
new beginning in all ways possible. Yeah. Or when I first thought of leaving Nervosa, I was really confused and scared. I was like, "Oh my God, no, I don't want to think about this." And then for a while, I even thought like maybe I'm not supposed to be playing music anymore, or I don't know. I was really confused at some point, but whenever you play in a band and you get on the stage and everything, it's really hard that you'll quit this like forever. I just couldn't like metal and this band thing and being on the road is just a part of my soul, you know. I just couldn't quit this. So yeah, for a brief moment I got confused, but I definitely would never like quit metal or anything. But it's definitely a new start. It's definitely a new start. Of course, Crypta was born a little bit before, like a little bit, no, like a while before we actually left Nervosa, but it was supposed to be like a side project, never a main band. But when I finally took the hardest decision of my life of quitting Nervosa and everything, it was quite comforting that Crypta was already there for me, and it made the restart easy, you know, because I mean, it was motivating to have another band going on already. Otherwise, it would have been like way more difficult because I was really sad. I was really frustrated. Like, oh my God, I gotta start it all over again and everything. But since things in crypto were so nice, it was motivating to actually have a band to be able to restart and everything. So yeah, of course, I brought a lot of experience from almost a decade working on Nervosa. Like, I was doing most of the things for most of the time. So, like, I brought a lot of experience, you know, like I brought lots of friends and contacts and but still, like, it is starting from scratch in a
Yeah.
certain way, you know, like, of course, like, now like there's some people who know me already, who, you know, like knew me from previously in their posts. So there were people who were supporting and motivating, but still, like, I was starting something from scratch again, you know, like creating the name for the band and writing the first songs again, and trying to decide about the first debut, like who's going to release it, how it's going to be, and everything. So we were literally starting from scratch, and I needed a lot of motivation. And on this side, of course, my friends and family like providing me lots of support, and the fans and everything. But I mean, the girls in Crypta were really motivating to me. Like, they're way younger than me, and they were so happy with the band, and so, you know, like with such a positive perspective for the band, and this helped me a lot. So Crypta actually motivate me a lot to restart with Crypta itself. So yeah, but
So
it
yeah,
was tough. It was tough. It was tough. It was
yeah,
hard.
yeah. So what about this name, Crypta? What does it come from?
We actually have a nice story about it. We were on that struggle. Everyone who once tried to create a name for a band knows like the struggle that it is, because every name you want is taken already, or it doesn't sound cool, or it's difficult to memorize, or whatever. And then we had like a huge list every day. We would wake up every day and send like many names on the group, but none of them were like, you know, like satisfying or were taken already. And then one day, out of a sudden, because we wanted a name that was easy to memorize, that was short, one name only, um, easy to speak, easy to read, easy to memorize in whichever language you speak, you know.
International.
Yeah, and also we wanted to try and make a blend of like something in English, but also something in Portuguese. And then once Luana came up, like she remembered that one some time before we had visited a crypt in Czech Republic. Me and her, we had a day off, and then we had this amazing we were in Brno in Czech Republic, and there are some crypts there, and we visited them on our day off, and it was like an amazing, cool experience we both had together. And then she came up with this name. She was like, yeah, I was remembering our experience there on the crypt. And then I thought, okay, crypta, because crypt is in English, and
Yeah.
in Portuguese, it's crypta. The same word translated, it's crypta. And then we thought, okay, let's just make a blend, see if the name is not taken, and see, like try and come out with the logo to see how it looks, like how the name looks and everything. And fortunately, it was all clear, and we loved the name, and it's pretty easy to memorize, and yeah, we're really happy for this name. But it was definitely inspired by one experience me and Luana had on a day off, one of the best ones we had, actually. Me and Luana, when we were thinking of having, like the side project, CRYPTA and everything, we knew from start that we wanted to have two guitarists, because, we love like guitar duets and everything. Like the first bands I listened to were like new wave of British heavy metal bands where there's lots of guitar work going on. And so like I'm personally highly inspired by that. So we knew that from start we wanted to have like two guitarists. And instantly when we thought, okay, who's going to be the first one, both of us said at the same time, Sonia Anubis, because we're such fangirls. We've been fangirls of Sonia for a while now. And I've personally been following her since she was a bass player only for one of her previous bands. And I always adored her, like the way she plays and how technical she is, but also lots of feeling, and how, like her stage presence is mesmerizing. I got the chance to watch her live a couple of times before. And she's got this 80s vibe, like this old school vibe when writing in and, like dressing and everything, which I love. So we thought she would just be the perfect fit. So we had no doubts. And we were actually scared, like, oh my God, what if she doesn't accept it, and what if, I don't know, whatever. We were like so like afraid in case she couldn't join us somehow. But for our luck, she said like yes instantly. And as for Taina, it's a whole different story, because we had never heard of her, like ever. Like we didn't have any friends in common, even though we live here in Brazil, and like same metal scene. But a little bit before me and Luana quit Nervosa, like we had announced already that we would have like a side project going on and everything. And Taina sent me a message saying, okay, I noticed you and Luana's got a side project going on. It's probably death metal. By the way, you're writing about it. I love death metal. I don't know if you have a guitarist. In case you don't, I want to send some material. I would love to join the band. I was kind of scared for the attitude. I was like, ooh, that's a lot of attitude. But then, like, I started talking to her, and the first video and I told her, yes, we are looking for a second guitarist. And she was like, okay, I'm going to send you some material of me playing, see if you like. And then the first video she sent me was a video where she was covering Crystal Mountain by Death. And
Yeah.
she played the solo perfectly. And I was like, I knew instantly, like, I needed to have this girl in the band. And I knew she would be the perfect match. But then we still, like, had a couple of talks, like a group chat to, like, check on her vibe, see if she was the kind of vibe, the kind of personality we want to have this, like, future journey with. And she was just like this, such a sweetheart, like just the sweetest person, like super cool and super creative and like super, how do you say, like a group person. Like she loves working in groups, like, and it was just like, she was just a perfect match. And yeah, that's how we got our lineup together.
It's funny that you are mentioning death, because I really feel on this album the death spirit. I'm a huge fan of death,
Me
and
too.
you can feel something in the air. the 90s death spirit, and it's really
That's
awesome.
that's amazing. Did you like the album?
Yeah, of course.
Ah, that's
And
awesome.
I was surprised because it's yeah, I love the Death symbolic album. It's quite it was a new step for this band. But your band, the very first note, it's so fucking aggressive. Yeah,
Mission accomplished. Mission
yeah.
accomplished.
I think this is one of the most brutal album you have released.
Thank you, thank you. I'm pretty. You have no idea how much this means to me. Like we've put so much passion and effort on this album, so it's like music to my ears that you're saying that. Thank you very much. But yeah, I mean, Death is really a strong presence in the band. Like I love Death. Our guitarist Taina, she's like addicted to Death. Like she loves it so much. The way she writes, it's really similar to Death. Um, but yeah, I think our album like is a hybrid of our personal tastes
Mm.
because like I'm pretty much into 90s American death metal. I love, like some other death metal, but I don't know. I have this thing with like 90s death metal from Florida, for example. I just love it. Like Death, Obituary, Cannibal Corpse, Morbid Angel, Deicide. I just love these bands. And these are the bands I look up when I'm writing, like I listen to them like even more than I usually listen to get like even more inspired. And that's the kind of metal I like listening to and writing also, like this raw, aggressive thing. But then we have like the other girls who like it like melodic death metal, like old school Swedish death metal. Sonia loves putting like those epic melodic parts in the songs, and Taina also likes some melodic stuff. So, and me and Luana are more to like the old school side of death metal. So it's an interesting blend because sometimes you can notice like this 90s like Death or Cannibal Corpse going on in there, but then there's like this melody that takes you like straight to Sweden or something like that. So yeah, I think it's nice that you can hear Death in there because he's mainly an influence to us, like a big influence, and also on my vocals. Like I'm really inspired by
Yeah.
Chuck. Like all the albums, I love them very much. But there's lots of people who say like my voice sometimes kind of sounds like Sound of Perseverance, and that's
Yeah.
a huge compliment to me. But also like like he's my influence. Like him and John Tardy are my biggest influences on singing. So you will definitely notice that in the albums sometimes because like I just can't help it. It's the metal I love, like.
It seems that the recording was quite a challenge because
Mhm.
you wanted to have a special sound on each instrument. Was it a
Yeah,
real challenge for you?
yeah. I mean, it was less. I think the biggest challenge during the recording process was about like the time and everything, and because we wanted to release the album in June, and for that we had kind of a tight schedule, so that was the most challenging thing. But sound wise, I think it was not that hard, to be honest, because like we knew exactly what we want. We wanted like to this old school raw organic vibe, but also with like with a powerful quality of sound that we have like available for us nowadays. So we wanted a blend between like old school sound and also the new school or like the
Yeah.
current facilities we
The
have,
good production.
Yeah, yeah. So we instantly agreed to that, all of us. So it was not like such a hard thing to decide on. And also for the sound, we knew that like we wanted also to have a blend between like this old school American death metal, but also the this a little bit more melodic European death metal thing. So we also knew we wanted something like that, and we explained that to our producer, and we were pretty much able to get there to the sound really easy, actually, really, really easily. The drums contributed a lot to that, because like the drums, there's no triggers on the drums, like you get what is there, like Luana used like a big kick drum and big toms and everything in order to get like a more like lower sound and more, like old school, like punchy. And also, I'm really inspired on bass by Alex Webster's sound from nowadays, but also back in the day. So you'll get that on the bass. And Sonia tried to get for the rhythm guitars this perfect blend between, like old school American death metal and European death metal. So it was like, we could easily find this balance, and the result is the album. You can notice that sometimes in some parts it sounds so raw, and in some other parts it sounds like super well produced. So
Yeah.
we were, this was not the biggest struggle. We kind of agreed to what we wanted, and we went straight for that, and it was super easy to find the sound we wanted, actually.
And there are tons of solo guitar solos in the that are amazing. You got amazing guitar players in the band, and
Yeah, I'm so fortunate to have them. Like, I love the team. We gather up. We love this family we have together in the band. And the girls, like, not only they're extremely talented, like technically speaking, but they're also like very creative. Like Sonia. Sometimes, like I would send like a simple riff to Sonia, and she would record it back to me like in such a more epic way. Like, she has this thing of really improving riffs and implementing like guitar leads that give another vibe to the song. So she's really creative. Taina also like is just amazingly creative and talented. And I mean, we wanted two guitarists from the beginning because we love this, like solo vibe and guitar duet and everything. And like each guitarist is playing like a different thing at the same time, and then you get, like that different sound, like full sound. We wanted that from the beginning. We just didn't expect that it would be so amazing like it is now. I just love the girls. And we were on the beginning. When we were looking for a second guitarist, we were looking, like for a rhythm guitarist. But then Taina was so talented and creative and proactive that we were like, okay, just, like just do whatever. So that's why in every song we have two solos. So both of the girls could express themselves and show a little bit of, like how they play in every song. And so, yeah, we just wanted, like for solo lovers, we just wanted to present like different solo nuances there, because the way Sonia solos is so different from the way Taina solos, and we thought it would be interesting to have like this blend in the songs. But yeah, I'm just really happy with this team. Like, the girls are bring so much to our music, so much. If it was only me writing, for example, it would be like way rawer than you listen to, but all this epic vibe you can find in some of the songs, like in our first single, From the Ashes, is definitely because of the girls. Like, they're masters of improving riffs and taking it to another level.
what about your lyrics?
That was an interesting process too, because like I spent almost a decade writing like protests and critics and social lyrics and all like that, because not only because I'm a social person, like an activist and everything, but also because like thrash metal is really connected to this kind of theme and lyrical theme. So it was like a challenge to me, but a good challenge in a good way. Like, I was challenging myself on trying to improve my way of writing in order to adapt it to death metal. And so what I did is I tried to connect all the lyrics to death in a certain way because we were playing death metal,
Hmm.
and but not, in a cliche way. I was trying to talk about many types of death, figuratively or metaphorically speaking, like ends of cycles and end of whatever, death of the ego and stuff like that, like. So I basically, my main idea when I started writing the lyrics to the album was to write about, like deep processes, like psychological stuff, because I love psychology. I study a little bit of that sometimes. And my main idea was to write about this kind of things. Uh, like this darker aspects of stuff we go through when we are on a journey of self improvement and self acknowledgement and self, like discovery. And I also wanted to create lyrics that maybe people could read and like identify themselves with, that lyrics could resonate in them, like that people could read it and like, oh, this talks to me in a personal way, and maybe help or inspire people to endure like difficult times. So the main idea was like this. But then when I started getting like by the half of the album, like writing the lyrics, I was like, damn, but I kind of miss like this protest vibe I had with NERVOSA and everything. And then I decided that, yes, I would have like some protest songs, stuff that would talk about some social issues that we had, but in a different way. Instead of just like pointing out and everything, I tried to write about this stuff like more uh, philosophically, like in a more poetic way, like so people could, whoever wants to, of course, could stop and maybe try and think about these stuff, like. And that's what I plan. And the result is starvation. It is a social lyrics, like it talks about people starving, which are more than 1 billion people around the world every night. And there's also bloodstained heritage that talks about like the miscegenation process in the Americas, which is not very beautiful. And there's also I Resign, which is like a bonus track we're going to be releasing in Japan, that talks about resignation syndrome, which is a syndrome that happens to kids who are sons and who are children of refugees and stuff like that. So I just wrote like social lyrics. They are a protest, but in a way more philosophical, polished and poetic way. And I loved it. I love the outcome. And they also, all of them relate to death in a certain way. I just thought, okay, if there's not even a little bit of protest in there, it's not going to be an album written by Fernanda. So yeah, but I think in the end, I pretty much like the content, the lyrical content. I think it's nice.
Great. And now, yeah, we want to see on tour, of course.
Yeah, we've been planning, although like the situation here in Brazil, like vaccine wise and the pandemics is like on the worst phase right now here. And although we still have to think about all of this, we did not stop planning. Like we have so much in store to announce and so much that it's only waiting for the situation to get better for us to, like hit the road. So we have already a couple of tours planned and kind of booked already, to be honest. And we've got some nice things to be announcing. So stay tuned to our socials. But we have, yeah, nice, cool things to be announcing tour wise. And some of them involve Europe, of course. So we'll soon be in Europe. And we just can't wait to be on stage. Like this situation is far too long, and we're just dying to get there on stage already. Like it's I miss that in like more than I could ever explain. Not only because it's nice touring and we have a new album out, but no, I now that I've been stopped for over a year, I noticed how much like being on stage is really important to my mental health and my body. Like and so yeah, I noticed how much important touring and being on stage and being in contact with other people and other cultures is actually important to me as a human being. And I just can't wait. Like, I just can't wait being on the road again. I'll be so happy, like so enjoying literally like every second of being on the road and like meeting everyone again out there. And now with a whole different thing, it's it's exciting, to be honest. I just can't wait. I just can't wait.